We are back with Tony Kauffer. We're on the podcast. I'm your host, Shane. Tony Kauffer, I work with him. He's one of our investors at Mega, as well as a major partner, a major cog in the environment. I'm going to hand it right over to you, Tony. Who are you? What do you do? And why should anybody stay on this podcast for the next hour to hear what you have to say?
I'll try and make it as interesting as possible. So I've lived a very exciting business life. So I'm Tony Kauffer. I'm living in Spain. I've been here for 37 years. And although my business career started in the UK, in retail, which is where I learned probably my sales experience, my beginning of some absolutely incredible people. And then moved to Spain, where I came for a sabbatical, a nice change holiday, as it were. And after a couple of weeks, I met a most beautiful girl who has given me two beautiful children, two grandchildren. So it's quite a long holiday.
Okay, that's good.
And I came to Spain with very little, apart from the clothes I had on my back and a 30-year-old car. Well, I must be exaggerating a bit. A 20-year-old beat-up car, and started from fresh and with nothing. Well, I say nothing. Beautiful wife. So that was it. It was really survival. But I enjoyed it. Coming from the retail corporate industry. The Dixon's Group, and they taught me a lot, not just in the shops. We set up subsidiary companies. We were probably one of the first companies to actually import TV games. It was probably before your time, Shane, but it was Bat and Ball, and we thought that was amazing. And then we imported from Mattel Toys the first 3D television games. They sent me to the States. I learned a lot through the States. I was very fortunate. And then worked, you've probably heard of Sinclair Computers. So the Sinclair Computers, I worked for the distributor there, Prism Microproducts, and also learned a hell of a lot in my early 20s. And that grew from a tiny company we worked from a cupboard, three of us, and then it grew within 3 years to a huge company. Probably grew too quickly. That sometimes happens. You can grow too quick but not have that infrastructure and try and do too much. I learned a hell of a lot, but the problem was I was very young, early 20s, and I really thought I knew it all. It's like you do when you're young. And I probably really didn't have that business head on my shoulders. And so nothing ever worked out. And I think that, it was a really good education for me to really finding a strengths, non-strengths. I was probably a bit immature as well. Coming to Spain and starting from fresh, doing something you've never done before. But the beauty of that is no one's judging you. So your family, your friends, everyone's back in the UK and you're starting from fresh.
I like that.
And then, so if I tell you the first thing I did, not knowing anybody hardly here, I was selling to food products to the pubs and bars. You do to survive. You work on commission and you work from 8:30 in the morning. You pick your product up. I mean, this is from a young man that was probably spoiled, had everything, run with big companies, loved flashy cars, everything else at an early age. Came to Spain, starting from zero. It was the best education. And I had a very good reason for doing it, but I loved it. It wasn't a hardship. From 8:30 in the morning, probably pick up the product, work till 12 o'clock at night, come back 6 days a week. And then eventually you sort of find your feet and confidence again, and then you get off businesses and possibilities. And eventually I got back into electronics, back into telecoms. Set up in 2003 my own with a English business partner, a telco company. We sold that after 3 years to a UK company, PLC, which was probably one of the worst decisions because we did a share swap and they just drained us and that went. Then a year later, the same partner, Mark and myself, set up Phoenix Solutions, and that was 15 years we had that telco company until last year. And that
Wow.
was amazing. We're a small company, but very different than any other telco company. I'm very proud of it and what we did and my staff. And, whereas telco companies normally have a very, very high churn rate. You don't normally stay with a telco more than a couple of years. And, you get to the next one, people change. And we have customers over 10, 15 years with us, big customers. We have for a small company in Costa del Sol in Malaga. We have big companies in Madrid, Barcelona, UK. We're in 30 different countries. Fabulous. We had a really good business, but I felt it was time. The little companies like mine were getting bought up and the big boys were coming in and things were changing. And so, yeah, we got bought out last year. I thought that was
Congratulations.
it. I thought that was it. I thought
Oh well, look,
that was
that's a load of information.
I know,
Packed.
very quick. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a load of information, and I think I can hear a. Can I hear a echo? No, all right, it's just me. Um, in terms of that story, Tony. Look, I guess anybody who is still here is the reason to watch this is you're going to have a lifetime of learning lessons packed
Yeah.
into this 1 hour session, and again that grit of coming from the UK, going to another country. I actually have a similar journey, not so the same, but similar as in I came from the US to here and had to start from fresh. And I came from a very, very affluent family too. My dad worked at Goldman Sachs, so I had a great upbringing. I decided to be a little more adventurous than I should. And as a result of that, I had to start fresh in the UK from nothing. And the life lessons it gave me were just I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. So I want to backtrack a little bit. So
Yeah.
you've started in sales. A lot of people get into that. How did you manage to get into a sales role from high school to college? What brought you to the sales world?
I think sales is always in my blood. It's in my family. My father, my brother, my sister, the cousins, everybody. We're all in sort of North London. We're all into sales.
Mhm.
Also, I think also that I was never a very good student. So
Me too.
actually going to college, university, further education, people used to call me a dreamer. It was probably true. I'm a bit of a dreamer.
Mhm.
And but I used to work for the Dixon's Group on my Saturdays, as you do. Don't know if you can do that anymore, but when you're 15, 16 years of age, on your Saturdays, your holidays, you're selling. And I enjoyed it. I love the mixing with people, and I love explaining and selling that the beautiful thing when you actually sold it and you get your ticket. And so that was lovely. So it was already in my blood, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I had some very good teachers on the way. And I also think selling is you've either got it or you haven't. And that was one of my frustrations in business. I really needed to set up a sales organization here to expand the business. And I never had the confidence that the people could actually sell in the way I wanted. It's very important that they sold the way, you have to sell from your heart. You have to believe in what you're selling, and people have to believe you. If people don't believe you, it's not going to happen.
Mhm.
And it's your reputation. And for my reputation, is so important, and the reputation of my companies, my staff. It's all, so I knew, and I just love it. And as I get older, I enjoy it more. And people say, well, I don't know, it wasn't for money. It wasn't for these big things. When I was young, it was. But over
Yeah.
the last years, it's really about being to achieve, to build your business, to see my customers grow. The beautiful thing about telecommunications was always about, we have so many customers started small, and because of how we help them, giving the right tools to grow. I think that really, that was so enjoyable. But selling is, I know nothing else. I don't know anything else than selling. That's me. I'm not the best businessman. I'm not, I
Mhm.
wouldn't say people say, oh, I'm a great businessman. You built your company, sold it. I mean, no, I'm not a great businessman, but
So on so
hard
on
work.
that, Tony, where because again, that's a good point to make. Some people aren't the best business people. They're really, really good at selling, and I
Mm.
experienced that too. So, what advice would you give to those that maybe are in sales? They want to follow the path of being a business owner, but they're not so good at business. So, what do you suggest or recommend they do in that situation? They're good at sales. They want to start a business. What would you advise them to do?
Well, in my case, to me, I made sure I had good people behind me. So the people, not just within my business, but people who look after my accounts. And here in Spain, it's probably the same in the UK. There's so many, you've got to be so careful. You could be running a business for 4 or 5 years, and then all of a sudden the taxman hits you from behind and they take everything because you forgot to do this or that.
Mm,
And it's not a strength I have. And I think knowing your weaknesses and your strengths are one of the most important things in a business.
absolutely.
So I always had someone behind me and within my company, and then everyone around you is motivated. And I think the people that are with you are motivated. That makes your customers motivated to work with you. But I think if you believe in something, do it. A lot of people say, God, Tony, you're so lucky what you did. And to be honest with you, everyone is lucky. The thing is to grab that chance, to see that chance, that lucky chance that you get, take it and use it and go with it. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You're the same, Shane, as me, that things went wrong, you went down, you lose it, you go back again, you go back and you start again. But if you really
Mhm.
believe in yourself and you're honest and you can, you want to move forward, I just use believe in yourself, do it. I mean, I work for companies, but the last one I worked for, they actually said, I'm unemployable. And you know what? They were right because I never laugh because I like to do things the way I want to do it.
Absolutely.
And you know what I'm like, Shane. The way I am, a little bit stubborn. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're such a nice guy, Tony." Yeah, but I'm very stubborn. And it's got to be my way. And if it's not, well, I'm off. I mean, it's
Well,
not horrible, but
this is the thing. You have to be, I wouldn't say stubborn, I would say stern. I think you're stern
yeah,
and you know what you want. And just on that question, the reason why I asked that question is a lot of people feel they have to be the holy grail of their own destiny, but they don't realize that if you can hire or ask people to help or get the right team behind you, surrounding you, you can achieve pretty much anything. And it's
yeah,
a case in point with Mega. We've got Peter, we've got Martin. They both have their own individual strengths. And then people like myself, you, and the other members of the team, we add strength in different areas, which makes the company much more impactful. But I'd love to carry on that journey where you've got into sales, you are experiencing travel, going around the world, obviously the wins. But there came a point in your career where the transition to Spain was on its way, right? The new start to Spain was on its way. So, what happened in your career where you believed being the owner of your own destiny was more important than being employed by this company?
I think it just came along. I mean, I don't think I ever was quite. It just happened. You're working for companies, and then you just feel you need to do your own thing. You can move on quicker on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And but then again, it doesn't work out. I came back to the UK, worked for a company, sent me back to Spain again, and it was really interesting. And they got me into telcos. And then you work for companies, and it just doesn't work the way you really want. I mean, it gets to the point where I remember we just were purchasing our first property,
Mm-hmm.
and we were renting one property, and the second property was under the construction. You pay the deposit for the first 2 years on that, so it
Yeah.
really spreads it out, which is great. And then all of a sudden, halfway through that, I turn around and tell my wife, "Well, I've just resigned." And it's like, really? At your face, you know. But don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Don't just trust me. It'll be fine. Don't worry. And it was. But you can imagine.
Yes, I can. So what was the reaction?
She trusts me, and
And
I have
that
two
is,
kids. But she, and I, that helps as well when you have someone behind you that really trusts you and believes in you. Then you could do anything. I think that maybe I wouldn't have been able to do it without that, but the trust behind you. You always have that doubt. You can't
mm,
have a doubt when you set up a company, when you have employees, when they have to believe in you. They have to go to the next stage, and you can't. You have to believe in yourself. I think more now that I'm less than what I was in those days. I never doubted myself too much. I did things, and it
mm,
helps to have someone behind you that believes in you. But you have to believe in yourself. Otherwise, you're going to face a lot of things in the future in your business. It's not going to work out. You have to find out how you're going to navigate. And yet, so to do that, you need to prepare for that. But I have to say, then I've got a great team I had behind me. And now they're all working for the company I sold it to. They're still there, but yeah, I mean, you have to. I think it's believing in yourself. Everything.
companies have to look. Companies don't exist without having the right people, and
Mm.
the people of the organization is what makes it grow. But again, I want to just hone in a little bit on that piece. And you said it just happened, but I believe there's always a moment of a light bulb moment or a moment of despair. And in every episode I've had, I think there's been one or two occasions where they don't want to mention it, but for me, it was I was running campaigns for my old company, and the company I worked for, I was employed by, and I saw the company didn't care about the client being satisfied and achieving their goal. They only cared about the guarantee that we were supposed to provide, which was X amount of leads, and the leads were supposed to fit a criteria. But behind the criteria, it was like you say, put it this way, we've got a very thick wall, an extremely thick wall, you cannot penetrate it. And then you give it to the customer and they go like this, and they see it's a piece of paper,
Mm.
right? And that's what the company was doing. And because of that, a client ripped me a new head. And that was my last straw. That was my last straw. I cannot have somebody else dictate my future and be in control of how my clients perceive me. So, was there like a situation where you asked your boss for something or a manager, I want to try this or I want to do this, and maybe they said no, or you were traveling and you thought, this isn't for me anymore? What was that moment like before saying, I'm going to Spain and I'm going to set this up myself? I'm going to start my own company.
Spain came for other reasons. Spain, I had my own little business at the end. It didn't work out, and coming to Spain was a time to get my act together.
Mm-hmm.
But for me to actually have my own business and the last business is because the very last one I worked for, the company, one of the last ones I worked for, they want to go in directions that I didn't believe in.
Perfect.
And if you don't believe in it, then you shouldn't be doing it. And I can't just carry on. For example, I was in a business in telcos where they were selling. I was in charge of one. There was the telephone cards, which we sell to the call shop, the immigrant
Mm-hmm.
shops, etc. And
Mm-hmm.
then there was selling to businesses, and I just wanted to do the business, and the company just wanted to do the cards because it was very cash up front, very quick, very selling. That's what they were good at.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw a much bigger future in dealing with businesses and a long future. It's very exciting. And the type of companies that people you work, clients you were working was a lot more exciting to me. But I had a longevity, which the other didn't have. But they
Mm-hmm.
didn't believe that. So I couldn't stay. I just look, I don't believe in it. And it happened 2 years later, they went bust because that industry went, because they went from cars to mobile phones. My business flourished because I was building up. See, the nice thing about the telco business was, as long as you can keep that customer happy and they grow, you've got money coming because I was prepaid, so it was all coming in, and it's a
Yep.
lovely little business to generate. And that's how I saw it. And the beautiful thing, you could be anywhere. We were in 40 countries, because now it's all on the cloud. You didn't have
Yeah,
physical equipment anymore. So, prove right. The best thing I did is then to say, no, you're not doing that. I said, well, yes, I am, but I'm not going to do it with you. I'll do it on my own if you're not going to do it with it. And I found a partner actually from the UK that had the technical. 'Cause as you know, Shane, I'm not very technical. I'm a good sales
yeah,
guy. So he
yeah.
helped me with that side and I did the sales. But it's just feeling that I had a better idea and I knew the way I wanted to go, and the way they were going wasn't going to last. It's no good
That's
to
what
me being working for a company that's going to be around for another 12 months. It's not, then what? I'm not going down with the scene. I've given you my views.
I
I'm
think.
never quiet about that.
I think the confidence in your belief is what's most inspiring, because a lot of people are afraid to make that jump. They're afraid to look at a situation. And the amount of times, Tony, I've heard it too, where I've been in a situation, I've vented to certain people and said, this situation is like this over the past decade or so. And they've said, just stay, just stay. It's fine. Just
Mm.
deal with it. You're getting paid, right? And I would really, really battle with this. I'd be like, what is going on here? How are these people saying this? I said, the money's shit, the job is shit, the manager's shit, everything's shit about this company. Why the hell would I stay? What else are you going to do? And that's what screws up your mind, right? Well, what else
Yeah.
are you going to do? Because then, as easy as it is to say, I'll go find another job, or what if you don't find the grass isn't green or always greener on the other side, right? Those kind of situations happen. And then that's what creates doubt. But the conviction behind your let's just say the belief that these guys aren't going to be doing so well. I do believe this is it, and then to really take advantage of it and capitalize on it. I think that's what I like my audiences to hear, because we've got people that are watching this that are either an employee and want to become a business owner. They are a business owner looking for new tactics and strategy to elevate their game, or they're seasoned business owners and they're looking to hear from like-minded people who have walked the journey, and just to kind of empathize with them that, yeah, oh wow, this person's gone through it too, because being a business owner is a very lonely journey. And I want to touch on that too, because a lot of people are building businesses around this. If you were to describe to a 10-year-old what it's like to build a business, how would you describe it to them?
Wow. To be in control, I mean, it's a hard word. 10-year-old, mind you, 10-year-olds are quite advanced these days, a lot more than I was.
Yeah, TikTok.
Um, I think it's the adventure. Do you want a good adventure in life? You want to meet some people. You want to travel. Don't want anyone to tell you what to do, apart from your customer.
Yeah,
But I think it's a great adventure, and it has been a great adventure. You go and see people. I mean, Spain's been an amazing venture for me. Just think, coming, and for someone like myself, going around Madrid and Barcelona and selling to, and you get to see those lovely cities, and you get to learn about these different cultures, and it's a great experience. Apart from, I wouldn't talk about, oh, you can make lots of money and all this. It's like, well, yeah, you can maybe, but
yeah.
that is really behind there. It's about having your own destiny. It's about living your dream, about being able to do things without anybody behind you telling me what you should be doing. You could be listening, should be listening, but you make a decision. And I really just going with your dreams. It's just great. You enjoy your dreams and do the things you want to do. You
I
know,
think that's a great way to put it. When you remove the element of money, that's a really, really nice way to put it. It's a really, really nice way to put it. So, whilst that it sounds great, and you do get to fulfill so much of your life's dreams by being in sales, most people don't even really know it, because they have this tainted view on what sales is based on movies that they've watched and Wall Street and who was it? Charlie Sheen, right? You got these kind of symbols that represent finance and sales as a couple. And that's why people don't understand it until they hear from live, real live interviews like this, what it means, what it can become, what you can receive from it. It doesn't really have the same impact. But what would
challenge. I think
it,
challenge. Sorry, Shay. For me, for me to sell to a multinational company in Barcelona, Madrid, which we did, why would they listen to a Brit living in the Costa del Sol? I don't know if you know, but the Brits have quite a reputation with the Spanish about how we could and what
Mm-hmm.
it's like down here. So why would
Yeah.
they trust a guy from the Costa del Sol, from Mijas, going up into Madrid, going to multinational, a large company? Why would they go? And that to me was a challenge, and they did go with us. And to me, that's a much bigger challenge than anything else. I walk away and they
Mm-hmm.
stay with you year after year after year, and and to me that was the best challenge, that was the best feat I think I've ever had in business, is to be able to, unlike most people down here, they're in real estate, they're in timeshare, they're in, it's very nice,
Mm-hmm.
it's but if you want to, you've got a lot more in you and you've got so much to offer, and
Mm-hmm.
you can go to Madrid and you can go to these different countries and you can sell to large companies.
Absolutely.
To me,
I,
that was the biggest business success for me. To see that is just, it's lovely to say they're your names and they're on your website. These big companies. It's for me the best thing.
so that challenge is definitely, it sounds like it's a big motivator for you. And those motivators, the disciplines that you've created over that time, they become really, really important when life gets tough as a business owner.
Yeah,
So I'm sure you've been through it too. We experience cash flow problems, people problems, environmental problems, economic problems, political problems. When life got tough for you, well, actually, let's do two questions. What was the most challenging experience you went through as a business owner with Megacore?
um, I think the frustration of not being to expand where I wanted to with the right people. So we wanted to expand in Barcelona. We wanted to expand in Madrid. You need the people. I couldn't find the right people. Nevertheless, they'd. Also, I think a lot of my frustrations was caused by myself.
Okay.
Probably know I should have been out on the street selling more than I was, but the last sort of 5, 6 years I was in the office.
Mm,
People in my own staff were saying, Tony, get out. Get out. We'll look after them. And they did look after my business. My wife was saying, what are you doing in the office?
mm,
And I think a lot of the difficulties I caused when looking back on it myself. And my biggest challenge was I should have been out there doing it, and I probably would have found someone in the end. But um, so that was my biggest challenge. The other challenge is I think that you're always wary of out here in Spain anyway, with what we call, I don't know, the tax office here, it's called Hacienda,
mm-hmm.
constantly changing the parameters. And you're always, I never enjoyed at the end of the month, you say, oh, great, we made this. Then you get this bloody email coming through, and it was like, oh, shit. It was like you never knew. And I had this thing where you could go 6 months, everything would be going amazing. And people say, Tony, why aren't you happy? Why aren't you? It's like, oh, I'm just worried. When things go really well, a cog gets in the wheel, something happens, and it's usually something to do with the tax or this legal thing or
Yeah.
whatever. And it's always like, and nothing ever really bad happens. But it's that not knowing, because I'm not in that kind of area of accounting and everything else, and you do get a few bad experiences, which is one of those things. But you sort it out in the end, you get it done and sorted. But I can never feel confident
Mm-hmm.
that something wasn't going to happen. You're always looking over your shoulder. Things were going too well, and that was the whole thing. I can never trust things to actually. Don't worry about it. And I used to have a business plan. Don't worry about it when it happens.
I've heard those
But I'm a
words.
warrior.
I've heard those words and spoken those words far more than I
You're
should.
gone.
I should be back now. What about
Yeah,
now? Am I
yeah,
back now? Yeah, I
yeah,
had a bad internet interruption. So if you were to go back, Tony, 5 years
yeah,
and do those two scenarios again, the first one, you cannot go out of the office. Okay, so as much as you're in the office, you should have went out of the office,
yeah,
but you That's not an option. So you can't go out of the office. What would you have done differently there? And then I'll ask you the second question.
If I couldn't go out the office, I'm stuck in the office, sell the bloody company. Which I did.
Perfect answer. Okay. Question number 2. What would you do? So okay. So I had a similar situation with the tax man over here. And I didn't like gap accounting. So gap accounting, general accounting practices, how everybody pretty much does their taxes. They have their revenue, they have their expenses, their costs, whatever else, and then they have their net. And that's how most companies do it. And I didn't like that I had to pay everybody first and then I paid myself last. That was soul crushing for me. So one of my mentors, I said, I hate this. I said, I am the owner of this company. I want to pay myself first. He said, Shane, go read this book. It's called Profit First. And I said, wow, that sounds like a really nice name. So I went and read this book.
Yeah.
And it was about, it's still the same about as gap accounting, but essentially what it does is all your streams of money, whether it's incoming, outgoing, gross, net, whatever the case may be, taxes, they have specific pots with specific percentages in them. So my employee payroll might have been 46%, and my OPEX might have been 18%. My director's salary might have been 25%. That was split between me and my business partner. Our taxes were always, let's say, 9%. And then we'd have another pot that would be another. But what would happen is that 9%, it would fluctuate, obviously, up and down throughout the year. So when I'd get to the end of the year and had to do my taxes, I would have a lot of money in VAT and a lot of money in tax available, even though I'd be spending out of that pot, but I'd still have extra money. So if you were to go about that accounting issue where you're getting hit by surprises, where regulation changes, laws change, percentages change, and how much you're taxed on the revenue, incoming revenue of your business, how would you manage that differently?
I think my business is probably very different than yours, and I don't think I had a big problem. I mean, our business was prepaid business, so we received the money beforehand for various reasons, not just because to worry about if the client was paying or not, but in Spain, if you send out an invoice, you have to pay the government there, the taxman, the VAT, whether you've received the money or not received the money. So we got the whole money first, and then we were secure on that side. Although I suppose we could have sent out something out before that, but it was a prepaid. Our business boomed. I really never had a problem. We had an old accountant that gave us some massive problems through salaries. They kept adding things to bring it up to the salary
Mm-hmm.
end, to the nomina, we call it here, the PYE up.
Mm.
And we never knew about this. And, but we changed the accountant. We got an amazing accountant after that. And I think the last 5, 6 years we had them, and now I use them still. They're amazing, and I have no worries whatsoever about that. But the cash flow was fine because we had a lot of cash flow coming in, and we paid the staff with it, paid ourselves. We in 15 years we never not got paid.
Wow.
Never got paid. Everyone got paid on time for 15 years. We got paid, and we looked after everybody, and everyone had their bonuses, and we never had a cash flow problem ever.
That is incredible. So a good accountant, a very good accountant would be the game plan to stick with. If you have a bad accountant, get a good one quickly.
I think because the last one we got now and the last one we had, they never. I said, look, I just want to sleep at night. Just I don't care what we have to pay. No tricky stuff. No, just I want to sleep at night.
Yeah.
Which we did tell the other one as well, but he thought he was cleverer. But this one, he was so good, and it was well, actually you have to pay more, and that was probably But he's fabulous, and the team that he works with, and that was much better. I felt a lot
Pay
better.
for what you get, right? You pay for what you get. So as we approach the last segment, one thing I want to ask is when times got tough, a lot of people are going through a tough time right now. They feel like the world is against them. Business is not performing as they want it to. What's one thing that helped you remain or stay resilient when times got really tough?
Believing in myself. I never worried about. My business did best when there was a depression. So we set our business up in 2008, which was everything
Yep.
was brilliant.
Yep.
Because people need to sell. Just get on
Mhm.
those phones. So and we were prepaid, so we didn't have to worry about. So to just look for something that's secure and believe in yourself. But I think sometimes everything's I've always, the last two companies actually we set up were during a bad period. I don't let that get me down. There's people saying things are bad now. All I see is restaurants are packed, everywhere's packed, everyone seems to have money, everyone's got great iPhone and everything else, lovely cars. Where's the problem? Where's the problem? I mean, no. I think sometimes when there's depression and there's going on, there's more alternatives. Take it
I
to the
really like that.
advantage. I'm not worried about that. I've never been worried about that.
I think the most important thing you said is the belief in yourself, and a lot of people need to really inherit that belief too. So, into the AI segment, Tony, where you
Yeah,
brought into the picture to be the star of our show. So, what are your views on the evolution of AI in 2024 alone?
it's incredible. I mean, I thought I was retiring, and Martin phones me at Mega AI and says, "Why don't you have a look at this?" I said, "Well, what is it? AI?" Well, I don't know what that. I know what it is, but what's it do? So I said, "Look, I'll tell you what. I'll go and see a couple of customers, well, ex-customers and people I've got, and chat to a few people, and I know." And they grabbed it. They just took it. I mean, as you know, they just run with it, and it was just. Then, as I understood the product and got more involved in it, it's just I think it's amazing, and it's so fun to do to have this voice coming out of your computer and talking to you and laughing almost and giving you some good suggestions. And I was at an AI exhibition a couple of days ago here in Marbella, and it was really boring. Everything was the old type and stuff. No, there's no voice bots there. There's no, and that's so exciting. Voice bots is where it's going. A lot of people are very worried about it. People I talk to go, "Oh, it's going to lay off loads of people," and but it's just going to make new possibilities. Doors are going to close and others are going to open, as they always have done. And what we've done in business, everyone said that the cinemas would all close because of one thing, and it will make a massive difference. I was looking at one of your pods, and someone saying, "No, but AI is very, very different." It
Mhm.
is, but we'll get over it. And I think it's an amazing help, and I think with the clients that are taking it from us, they're going to benefit so much, and their clients are going to benefit. They're not going to get lied to anymore. They're going to have a understand more what's going on. They're going to have. It's a fabulous product. I would never have invested into something that I never thought. Plus, I know the team, and as time goes on, it's been frustrating.
Mhm.
Things change in a new business. Things have to move and change and around. But just to see the way people are accepting this product to better their business, to better the experience of their customers, it's just a no-brainer. It's
So, how do you see, let's say, past the last 50 or so customers that Mega call? How would you see customers like that that show similar characteristics? How would you see them using the voice AI solution in their business?
well, we had a lot of business. Some business won't take it because it's not really there. But their telemarketing companies, a lot of those will take it because there's a lot of frustration about staff, how they talk to their customer, retraining staff every 20 minutes, every few months because they come and they go. There's massive churn in that industry.
Hmm.
If you're an owner of those businesses, you're responsible for what those people are saying on the phone. There's no way of getting around it. But if you can have a bot that you are responsible because you program that you put the information on it, It's everyone. It's not just about replacing them with people. It's about giving, and also to be able to expand your business so fast. We have a new business now, and they're looking at going into the American market, and they're in the European market today.
Hmm.
That's a massive market for them. They would have to bring in a huge amount of people, train them, put them in, and hopefully they'll do the job right or say the right things. The bots are just gonna, they can put 10, 20, 100, 200, and just move it up as it goes. And it will always improve. It just learns and learns, it just learns and learns. And I think it's quite fun to listen to. A human can get, oh God, yeah, right. So, but I find that quite really amusing, really amusing what you can do with it. And it's even, we've tested it, Martin's tested it. When we
Yeah.
tested it in Spanish, my wife, tested it and in the Spanish version, and it was just so funny. And I think it will get accepted. It will definitely get accepted. Yeah.
Hey, look, I think it's already accepted. The uneducated souls of this world are going to be the ones that fall behind and are usually the ones that are skeptical about this. And I was literally having the conversation with my mum yesterday, and I said, "Mum, I got to go off the phone. I'm watching a new a new podcast on AI." She goes, "What the fuck are you watching now? What? Tell me. Go on, try." I said, "Mum, you're not going to get it. You don't understand these things." She said, "Go on, why don't you try me?" I said, "It's AI agents. Do you know what AI agent is, Mum?" She said, "Go on, then tell me more." But isn't it going to take away jobs from people? I said, "Mum, you fail to realize the amount of jobs it will create?"
Hmm.
And what people fail to realize is AI don't work without a human. So yes, while all these jobs are being eradicated or eliminated, they're shitty jobs anyway. I,
Yeah.
I asked my mom, I said, imagine somebody you've never had to cold call, Mum. Do you know what it's like to cold call every day? She said, no. Do you know what it's like to cold call 5 days a week, 20 days a month, 240 days a year? I might have lost. Have you lost me? I'm still here, or have I gone?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, all right, sorry. And I said, now imagine, Mum, that's 4 or 5 years of a job. That is 1,000 days
Soul
of cold
destroying.
calling.
Oh.
That will mess you up emotionally. I don't care who you are, right? I'm amazing at cold calling. I could probably generate a couple of $1 million in a business. I don't want to cold call. I would rather figure out a way to do it in another way because of that reason. So, as we go into 2025, GPT, Claude, we've got various models that are working really, really well. What are your predictions for the next 6 months only on how AI will evolve in our marketplace?
Very hard to say. I'm not. In what ways are you talking about how it will evolve? In there being most areas of
Let's use it for our marketing, financial control, agencies, telecoms, BPOs. How do you think it will?
telecoms is going to be in every way that, I mean, it's they're all, I'm already talking to telco companies,
Okay.
and everyone has to have it. It controls everything in what you've got. AI is in your software. It's everywhere. It's everywhere, and I think everybody has accepted it. It's going to be a natural source. I think in the next 6 months, in some way, some form or other, AI will be used by everybody. Everybody.
It has to be. I think it has to
In
be.
one way or the other, AI is controlling with your computer, whatever, your phones, how you speak to people, your customers, education. Already, it's big on that. Calculating the future of where you should run your business, giving you ideas on art, as with a company and exhibition. They do using AI to create last minute posters and exhibitions for clients. AI is being used for that now, today. In small businesses, small print companies here, they're using AI to produce artwork.
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Now, with all this opportunity that's coming, though, and how much involvement there will be between us and this new world of AI that we're going to be working with, what do you think are the biggest concerns for you?
I haven't thought about concerns. Sorry, Shane, I haven't really thought of any concerns. I'm not even thinking there. You know, when you run a business or when you're running something so positive like AI,
Hmm.
I just don't like to think of negatives. It doesn't even come into my mind. What? I don't have any negatives. I mean, surely there will be negatives to people, and we'll sort it out the same way as we sorted everything else out.
Hmm.
But I'm not looking on the negatives. I've never really looked on that. I suppose what I keep getting is negativity or unemployment.
So where I've heard a lot of the concern is around the ethics behind using AI. So when it comes to customer experience, the ethics of a voice AI agent, how it will interact with a human, and then let's say it has a bit of
Humans
data.
interacting with humans? How good are they?
This is true, but there also could be situations where it becomes racist all of a sudden. I don't know if you've heard the most recent story. There was a 10-year-old asking about. Did you hear about this? A
No,
10-year-old
no.
is had to be reported on Gemini, and a 10-year. This is the concern though.
Okay.
A 10-year-old was doing a school project, and he was grilling the AI. This doesn't make sense. I'm trying to write the paper on this. I need this and this. And the AI blew up on him and said, "You are an infutile human. You serve no purpose. You lack the intelligence to be a productive human being. Do not message me again."
No.
It's something I can't say it's verbatim, right? But I will share the link and the post with you. Google had to release this, and there have been multiple instances where, like on GPT, you can be communicating with these AI models, and again, it is possible because it can happen, and these are what ethical concerns. I hosted a couple of roundtables on this, right, with about 10 people, where I had scientists, AI doctors come to the table, and they spoke on the ethics behind it. How is data going to be used? What if it is compromised? What if you're using AI in a storage and a specific server that does become leaked? Like all those things is what we bring up the concerns around, because it does pose a very interesting conversation. When you have 300 concerns over 300 episodes, you then have a ton of stuff that you have to worry about. But it is in terms of like, we don't want to worry about the negative, 100% agreed.
But I know
But there,
now on the Mega AI, we put a barrier to that. So we made sure if asked certain questions or whatever, or too many times, it had a good ending.
absolutely.
But
So
if you
again, it
don't,
comes
if you leave it open, if you leave that gate open, then yeah, I suppose.
So, what do you see for yourself over the next 12 months? What's happening for Tony then over the next 12 months as we wrap up the episode?
Building a strong customer base here in Spain.
Okay. And is there any lasting words that you'd like to share with the audience before we wrap this up?
Come to Spain, eh? Look, lovely weather.
If you look
Right.
at this, guys, here's the story. If you don't like what you're doing in sales, go set up in Spain, do a bunch of very hard work. We're not saying it's easy, do a bunch of hard work, and you could be on the other side of this screen from me with palm trees in the back, the sea and the breeze behind you, talking on a podcast as a successful exited business
What
owner.
one
So
thing you've got to do, one thing that people have to realize, you can come to this beautiful country, have all of this, but you have to work damn hard to keep it. It's no different than the UK or anywhere else. I work my arse off in this country. I'm a bit more relaxed now, but I've done a lot of hours. But hey, it pays off. And the small period of time you get to have your time is quality time.
and you get a lot. Tony, I'll tell you, that is a sharp shirt. I really, really like that shirt. So, that's
I'm
a
taking
wrap.
it off late. I've only done it for you. I'm going to get my t-shirt in a minute.
Send it over. Send it over, mate. Send it over. And guys, look, Tony, I think you have a business website, or are you on LinkedIn? If anybody wants to reach out and find out more about Mega or some of the things that you do, what's the best way to reach you?
Well, to reach me on email, you can get me on Tony. Um, it's total. We say Guion. I don't know what that is now in English. I've been here so many years. Hyphen business dot es España.
Awesome. All
Huh?
right, guys. All right, that's a wrap. That's the
Okay.
pod.
Thank you very much, Shane.